talk about one problem, and then you're going to get some work done. Problem I want to talk about is this one. It's very similar to one that was on the note card activity yesterday, because there is one other thing that you can do in Verify that doesn't really show up very often as a helpful tool, because it works in a very small situation. And the small situation it works in is in problems where you've got a fraction equal to a fraction, and you go through all of the red flags, and a problem comes up. Cosine over 1 minus sine is equal to 1 plus sine over cosine. My angles are the same. I don't have multiplied reciprocals. I don't have squared trig. I cannot factor. I'm not adding fractions. There's no basic algebra that I can do. And I also can't change everything into sines and cosines, because it's already sines and cosines. So, it's the one oddball situation that we go through all of our red flags and nothing really works. And it works out beautifully when it's a fraction equal to a fraction, because you could do a lot more things with fractions than you can do with other types of problems. And this method, essentially, I just call it brute force. It's making it look the way you want it to look. If I look at this, one thing I notice is that the left side has a denominator of 1 minus sine, and the right side has a denominator of cosine. Can you make fractions have different denominators? Can you make fractions have common denominators?
Yes.
In a Verify problem, do you want, if it's going to be a fraction equal to a fraction, do you want them to have the common denominator?
Yeah.
So, brute force, essentially, make it look like the other side. I'm going to multiply both top and the bottom of this one by 1 minus sine. I'm going to make the top and bottom of the other one, I'm going to introduce cosine. Cosine times cosine is cosine squared. Cosine times 1 minus sine. I would distribute it, or I would leave it in its factored form. Which would you prefer? I'm hearing about 50-50 distributor factored. I personally think it's less writing to write the factored form. Okay, on the right side, 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times negative sine is negative sine. Sine times 1 is positive sine. Sine times negative sine is negative sine squared. And the denominator, since I left the one side in its factored form, I'm going to leave this side in its factored form. Looking closer, because the denominators are the same. On the right side, I can do some basic algebra stuff. I.e., I can combine my like terms. What is sine plus a negative sine? 0. They cancel out. I'm left with 1 minus sine squared theta. Do you see any red flags? What are you noticing? 1 minus sine squared becomes cosine squared. Are both sides the exact same? Because if both sides are the exact same, you can leave it just like that. In a Verify problem, it does not need to be simplified down. It is very, very rare that you will ever have a situation where this actually works for you. That's why I didn't introduce it until today. This problem's directly off your homework, by the way.